kill to Rekkles. That's a double. He's looking for more.
Kill.
That's a triple. He's looking for 4. That's the quadra. He will get it. The reset forward. Looking for a pentakill. We're in Sweden. The Swedish gets it. It's a pentakill. Fnatic topple G2 and are your Spring Split champions.
OG have cut down Fnatic and will find themselves in a rematch versus G2.
G2, they take it, and G2 are your champions.
I'm tired of being like second place or losing quarterfinals or all that. Like I just want to win, and I think G2 gives me the best chances of doing so.
Fnatic is always a successful organization, so I want to make sure that it stays this way.
G2 didn't just get Rekkles, they also lost Perks.
If other teams think we'll drop off because of that, then they are awaiting a pretty rude awakening.
That's going to be a 3-man ultimate. Try and finish it off. Patrick uncontested, doing so much damage, but it's not enough. Vicky there to body block. And G2 just cannot be stopped in a team fight. My God, look at that.
I mean, so Fnatic G2 is just like a rivalry that's been there ever since I joined, or like even before I joined. It's always just a competition between Fnatic and G2, which team will win the trophy.
With the history of Fnatic players going to G2, it always makes the matchup more interesting.
For me, it's not as personal as it is for Kai'Sa and Rekkles. They just can't allow themselves to lose against Fnatic.
I'm probably too excited to play against Fnatic. I have been in this situation before when Caps joined G2 and I was probably too excited to play them, and then I kind of ran it down in that game.
Fnatic can't even surrender yet. The fastest win of Spring. G2 destroy Fnatic.
I should just go into the game thinking it's just another game, but I know that's going to be hard.
For the first time since 2018, Fnatic takes down
Coming in, this is his hero moment. If he wants to turn this fight in favor of team, this could be the game. Dividing moment.
You can do that!
It's G2 falling time and time again.
G2 are inevitable. G2 are inescapable. 7 titles for G2. Perks always had that presence there, and I think that the fact that that presence is so similar to the presence Rekkles had in Fnatic, and it shifted, it's gonna be great.
Yeah, I don't think Rekkles going to G2 will improve the team a lot.
We had some issues last year with Bwipo and Selfmade both having like very strong opinions, and I think Upset is another one of those guys. So probably one of them will have to lay down their weapons and play a more supportive role in the team. If there's too many carries, then I think it will be hard to make it work.
Fnatic has to prove that we can be again the top org, right? The top team in League of Legends.
Fnatic rule Europe.
Not just that second team that everybody just looks from the top.
G2 are the greatest team we have ever produced in Europe, and they go back to back to back to back and win the summer season.
I think it's always going to be exciting to face Fnatic. They've got new players too, and they always have players that can talk a lot, right? So I'm excited to shut them up and just prove that we're better once and for all again. Another year, another G2 is better than Fnatic.
Strong words coming in from Wunder as we get ready for the match of the week. Match of the season, potentially, Fnatic versus G2. I'm Drakos, joined by Caedrel as before, but between us and this wonderful sandwich is none other than Christiander Frierson. Welcome to the desk.
Oh man, I'm so thrilled. Honestly, every single time G2 versus Fnatic, you know, in the match of the week, you saw all the best of 5 great moments, but even in the regular season, it's always fun. And look, the way these two teams have been playing, it's aggressive, it's scrappy. We're in store for an absolute bloodbath.
Yeah, Fnatic had like almost 50 kills against Mad Lions combined with both teams. And I think the thing is with G2, it's just a team that if you punch them, they're going to punch you back way harder. So this is going to be just a fist fight.
I'm really just genuinely very excited for this game. I just want to see. My biggest fear is that it's like both draft scaling and chill. For like,
that's never gonna happen.
It literally is impossible, and there's that's like it's an irrational fear, you know. But you have to give me that because all I want to see are really high intensity lanes. I want throwbacks to 2019 where it was like, you know, Akali Silas in the mid lane or Aurelia Akali. Like, I want to see mechanical limits tested in this game.
I mean, the players we've got, that's exactly what we're going to be seeing. And I think it's so exciting, too, to see Rekkles finally face down Fnatic for the first time since he's left the squad. Bwipo talking about it and everything. I think there's a heat and rivalry right there.
There's 7 World Finalist appearance players in this game alone. 7 out of 10 of them have been to a World Finals. They've been the second best placed team in the entire world, and the 7 of them in one game. Does that hype it up enough? I mean, what more do you want?
I mean, do you want, you know, age-old rivalries? Do you want, like, the biggest European roster acquisition probably of all time and taking Fnatic or Rekkles away from Fnatic? We're going to have to see, though. Is this going to be the absolute banger we expect it to be? I certainly hope so. We are getting ready for Champ Select. Let's find out exactly how these teams want to approach the game in our match of the week, G2 versus Fnatic. Oh, that's a twist.
Okay. I love it.
I gotta say, I love the Champ Select music, no bias. But here we are into the thick of picks and bans already. Caedrel, I gotta toss it over to you. What are we looking at here?
Well, we're looking at OPs. The first pick, the first rotation's always OPs. We're talking Aphelios, Thresh, Pantheon, Taliyah, Kai'Sa, things like this. And junglers are what I'm looking at. You can see G2's already banned away 2. Taliyah's the only one left up for Selfmade. So if they ban that away, we're looking at things like the Kai'Sa and things like the Camille, perhaps.
Yeah, Taliyah left open. I feel like Selfmade might want to snap into that. Of course, the Kai'Sa is still there if Fnatic wanted to go that direction themselves. And then I wonder, what does Jankos actually go into here? Because a lot of these fast-clearing junglers, a lot of these high early-game impact champions have, of course, been removed from the board in the bans.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see something like Aphelios, Thresh, Camille, Lillia. These kind of things are so OP. The Kai'Sa as well, which we mentioned, has come out as well. So do you want to match jungle here? The Lillia does come in against the Taliyah, so that's really good. So now the Fnatic want to pick up the Camille themselves. Do they want to pick up things like the Azir, which we've seen have so much impact as a 2-3 pick for blue side, because I think blue side can opt in for so much more scaling because of Zaya, because of Azir and things like this.
Yeah, the interesting thing too here with 2 magic damage junglers as well is, like, would we see something like a Lucian perhaps in the mid lane as an option for either of these 2 champions? And now the Thresh plus the Aphelios, that's a power bot lane.
And I love to see it because one of the matchups we're going to be tracking very closely is Upset versus Rekkles, and there is really no truer hyper carry in the meta right now than Aphelios. Very traditional, does not have the luxury of defensive tools. Upset will be reliant on Hylissang to keep him safe so that he can deal that damage.
Yeah, I've seen so many Thresh bans throughout the last couple of weeks, because red side can always 1-2 Aphelios Thresh, but they do decide to go for the Kai'Sa Lillia on their side, and then the Aphelios Thresh gets locked in. And the Camille that we mentioned has been picked up by G2, and not only is it a Camille, but it's a Camille on 3rd rotation on red side, which means you can invest 2 bans into this Camille to make sure it has the strongest matchup possible. GP's one of them. I would expect Jax to be the second.
Yeah, Jax would definitely be a good one in there. No doubt about that. Now, Fnatic likely hit supports here, you might imagine. Already taking one themselves. We banned away the Blitzcrank that we saw as an answer into Thresh in just the game before this. Maybe a Nautilus as well.
Yeah, the Nautilus is the second answer to the Thresh. So G2 looking to counterpick perhaps mid here. They don't really have to counterpick support. They can pick support on 4. We're looking at things like Nautilus, Leona, these kind of champs that work so well with the Kai'Sa and the Rel as well. But I think the Nautilus is just the best pick for them. Rounds out the comp nicely. Get a good counterpick mid for caps, and then, yeah, just go from there. But the Alistar is locked in, which is also just as good. Gets in their face, engage support, super tanky.
Yeah, right now you have so many options, right? Like All-Star can come from the front for the engage. You have Camille trying to fly in from the side, all trying to set up for this Kai'Sa to see exactly what she can do. Holding last pick for caps, I think that's like classic G2 fashion. Definitely a good choice to come out of them. Now the Volibear as a common answer to the Camille back at Worlds. How do you feel about that one, Caedrel?
Yeah, it's a decent answer, I think, from what's open. I mean, the Jax is not very good over side lane because I think the game's more about Dragonfight. So I need to see some kind of AD mid here for Fnatic, I think. I think going for a mage mid here is kind of risky. You're putting a lot of resource onto Upset to carry the fights, but they're going to go for the Azir, so it's almost like a triple AP topside. And the problem you run into with this means the Camille can run away with the game. Looks like Caps already had an answer straight away, insta-locks the Zoe, so the poke coming off from the Zoe Lillia is good, but this Camille over side lane is going to be really, really strong if she gets ahead.
Yeah, you have the double sleep there as well with the Lillia and the Zoe. Just try and keep people in front of you, buy time for your cooldowns to come on through. The Azir, like you called for Fnatic, going to give them that strong team fight option. And honestly, I got to shout out the Volibear for Fnatic. Yesterday, they were diving towers all day long. Now they got that built-in Ohm Wrecker. They're ready to throw down.
Ready to turn them off, most certainly. Heavy AP compositions on both sides with some hyper carries to back them up and a Camille on the top side for G2 Esports. But what are we expecting here? I got to set some expectations for these compositions. What is this early game going to look like?
Well, I think if you look at Fnatic, they have so much scaling on their mid-bot side. Yes, the Aphelios Thresh is really strong in the lane phase early because it's a range support into the Alistar, so they'll get the push there. They should get a decent push in mid lane, but the problem they need to run into is they need to make sure this Camille doesn't get ahead, because I think if the Camille gets ahead and she's on side lane and gets the push, if G2 can set up on the objective first with these Zoe sleeps, I think the Fnatic are going to run into big troubles.
It's time, folks. Match of the week, Fnatic versus G2 Esports. Backstabbed, betrayed, revenge, rebirth. Let's see who takes it. And already an immediate level 1 action potentially breaking out here as Fnatic move into the bottom lane.
Yeah, essentially what they're doing is they have a range support, they have a range AD carry, of course, so they're putting a ward down in this bush for 2 reasons. First reason is they get vision in the bush to make sure that they can try and get a level 1 kill on the Mikyx if he sits in that bush himself, or in this bush perhaps as well. But the main reason is so they can get the push early. They can get the push out, they can push in the bot lane, and they should have prior over bot lane.
Yeah, looks like Mikyx going to spot this one out, just simply back away from this one. Early reset coming through from Hylissang. Of course, he was the one to place the ward down in bot lane, so switches over to the sweeper, which will be back up right around the same time minions collapse and hit each other in the mid lane.
Yeah, really good vision from Fnatic here, essentially putting a ward on the blue Gromp area so they know where Jankos starts. If he starts on red, they know he's pathing to bot side, so that Fnatic needs to be a bit careful when he does hit level 3, level 4 and is around the bot side of the map, whereas G2 won't have any info on where Selfmade's starting. It looks like he's going for an opposite side jungle start, so he's going to counteract what Jankos is doing by going to the opposite side of the map.
We'll see how they split these lanes. Of course, keeping our eyes in general on the top side matchup as well as we progress further into this game. Genax really the only player taking a lot of time to play the Volibear so far this split. He had 2 wildly different games, losing out horribly to Broken Blade, absolutely dominating here. We'll have to see what Bwipo's take on this matchup is. Was very successful with it at Worlds. Liked to go for a more aggressive build with the old Triforce and the Conqueror instead of the Grasp and the CDR. But with new Volibear on the Rift, we'll have to see what his options are.
Yeah, and I think those longer trades with Volibear, if he's ever able to get 2 Ws off within a fight, that's sustained very, very good here up against that Camille. Down bot side as well, we saw Mikyx and Rekkles assist in the leash already, so Upset and Hilly have this priority in the lane. Hilly can walk up into that second brush as well.
Yeah, exactly. Hylissang can just sit in that bush, and Mikyx could ward it and try and spot out Hylissang, see if he's going for a pre-hook or anything like this, but Fnatic can just kill the wall if he does that. So Mikyx can't place his ward here. He does have a sweeper anyway, so Rekkles can't place it either, because if that ward dies, they essentially lose all their vision. They can't ward the river, so expected pushing coming in here from Fnatic on the bot side, and Wunder has the push on top side. So 2 different variations, and that's why both junglers are pathing into those lanes. Let's path to the winning lanes early and make sure we secure the Scuttle Crab.
Exactly. Like, there's no help coming for G2's bot lane anytime soon. Same thing for Bwipo on the top end of the map. You're just trying to collect the minions as they come in. Bwipo, only 1 CS to his name, but you know he has to take the back foot early on in this lane.
Yeah, that's the problem. The thing is, if you're a jungler and you path into a losing lane on the side, and the enemy jungle's there and he takes the crab in your face, what he can do is, if he hits level 4 before you, he can go to the other crab as well. Exactly. So not only do you lose the crab, you lose 2 camps. So both junglers pathing into their prior lanes here. We're probably going to see a full clear from both junglers, and then they're going to take the crabs and look to base, but aggressive trade coming on top side.
Bwipo going in. That's going to be the big shield coming in. Adaptive defense is buying time for Wunder, and that's going to do it. The tactical sweep for first blood, and already instant blood in the bottom side as Hylissang goes down 2. Are you kidding me? 2 for 0, 3 minutes into the game.
G2 just beat Fnatic on both sides of the map. The long trade, Bwipo couldn't get that extra bite off. Wunder's able to take him down, and then Mikyx punting Hylissang under the tower. That is not what you want to see as a Fnatic.
Yeah, need to see the replay there. I think Mikyx Q-flashed Hylissang and knocked him into the tower. He saw at the last second of that fight, Hylissang was flashing away from the tower, so really, really good pickups for G2 there, winning both side lanes and having this push in mid lane.
Oh man, it is a great start here for G2. I mean, we were talking about how top side should be going well for G2, bot side not so much, but the fact they win on both. Now what do you really do if you are Selfmade? You count the summoner, you say, hey, maybe Mikyx a little vulnerable, Wunder on the top side as well, but the way minions have been, it has not been good.
Yeah, now G2 do come back to the lane. The problem is, Rekkles hasn't based yet, so they do have the skill advantage on Mikyx and Rekkles, but they haven't gone to base, whereas Wunder's based, he's picked up a Sheen. As Bwipo does win the trade, I think Wunder went a bit too deep there.
You have to remember that as strong as Camille can feel in these trades, multiple procs of that W from Volibear instantly shift things back in his favor. Wunder still has to respect the pick, but now we have the Hex Flash coming in. Activating, that's going to be a little bit more damage. Rekkles is here, but the Lillia is also on the way. Upset, trying to back off as much as he can. Onslaught now used, and they'll retreat, wasting a lot of Jankos' time.
Look at the cross map though, they're going for a top dive. Wunder has no flash. If they hit a stun into CCTP coming in.
Wunder buying as much time as he can. He's going to lock up Bwipo. The knockback is not going to connect. Wunder's still alive for now, but he does get taken down, and Fnatic make it out alive.
And that's a good juggling of the turret aggro right there. Fnatic definitely making that one work out. Good hook on towards Jankos. Under
tower. Under the tower. One shot. Not enough to finish the job.
Does have to flash away, so Fnatic playing the other side. It's basically the reverse, you know, Fnatic's playing really, really good on top side. They get a play. Nisqy doesn't lose a couple creeps in mid lane. Caps does get the advantage there, and then in the 3v2, they force out Jankos' flash, so Bwipo's definitely covered this lane. Now Wunder might struggle a little bit because I think Bwipo denied the whole wave, and you can see Wunder's coming back to lane, so look at the CS differential. And I think the CS isn't the biggest problem, it's the experience.
Yeah, the fact that Bwipo almost proxied that entire wave, so he's got a lot of time to do whatever he wants, whether it's to go back to base, or I think he's pretty low HP, low mana, so he is going to want to go back to base, but won't even be punished for not having a teleport. He's going to get back onto the map, no problem here. Yeah, so Fnatic very much back into it.
Yeah, exactly. You might be thinking why Wunder didn't freeze that wave. I think his wave was way too far away. He tanked way too much creep damage, so just let it crash, collect the wave. He does have a kill advantage over Bwipo, but the items are quite similar in a way. You know, dagger to boots is the only real differential you have there, so the map state is really even, the gold's really even. Although there is a kill advantage on G2, the game is very, very even.
And it's incredible to see. You can see the gold is actually dead even as Caps goes out fishing for the Sleepy Trouble bubble. Mikyx paying some attention to mid lane to buy a bit more space for Caps. Level 6 coming through will be a big deal, but especially for that top side of the map that you brought up already. Volibear's ability to dive past the level 6 point is huge, but you can see both teams matching plays left and right. Top side for bot side. Now both supports roaming mid. Truly an even match so far in this game.
Yeah, thing is with Jankos, of course, clearing his Krug camp, it means that Mikyx doesn't feel super confident walking into that bot side river. It'll mean Crab can go over to Selfmade pretty easily, and some more pressure down towards bot side. Level 6 for Jankos does open up a lot of gank opportunities, though.
Yeah, Selfmade and Hylissang kind of holding hands here, making sure they pick up the bot Crab. Hylissang just making sure he's there to cover, so I think bot pressure is what Fnatic have here. They have a wave kind of in an even state. You can see Hylissang poising for an engage here because Mikyx has no flash. Selfmade has flash himself as well, so they can get an engage here.
Backing off, waiting for a Hex Flash. It's just going to go down here. Mikyx going to get knocked back, hooked, pulled through, and just absolutely one shot.
Oh, Nisqy has to hop on out of there, but it is funny, though. Back when Rekkles was on Fnatic, it was always going down to the bot lane with all those teleports just piling up, trying to help him out. Now Fnatic trying to turn things around. After the early game didn't go so hot, now able to shut down Mikyx. Put some pressure on Rekkles.
Yeah, Caps having so much mid pressure here. The good thing is both junglers are focusing their attention towards bot side. You know, they did go for the dive top, which got Bwipo back in the game, but top lane's kind of like in an isolated state right now. You know, if Wunder can start winning this matchup, or Bwipo, if bot lane's in an even state, you just have a natural advantage on the map. But Caps playing with fire here. He has the ignite. He could go for some more damage onto Hylissang there, but Caps, Nisqy has to go to base, and Caps is keeping up so much mid pressure. Hits the ignite. He might take down Hylissang.
Trying to use the Sand Swipe Octave as well. Ticking, burning. Nope, just barely going to live there. And gentlemen, we have a brief
I don't know if we do. There's multiple players from G2 going bot side. They want to shut down Upset. He has no help on the way.
There's no wave though. Mikyx doesn't have flash either, so if he goes in for this trade and Upset flashes the combo, he's just going to die himself. But Selfmade's here with the ult.
He's got 7.
Might commit to it though.
He sets up the turret to defend himself. It offers a little bit of zone control. You can see it slows down Jankos.
Oh,
he can
no.
flash at any moment. Mikyx is very squishy. That's going to be the route. That's going to be the follow-up. Now he's got the Calibrum Q as well. All too easy as Selfmade is going to finish the job.
Oh, it's just painful right there for Mikyx. He thought he was setting up for the gank, but like you said, Caedrel, the wave wasn't there, so it bought time for Selfmade to show on up, and then this poor little Alistar, not very tanky at level 4.
Yeah, if the wave was there, the Alistar could walk up into the Aphelios and then just hold his Q and force him to flash, but if he can flash the combo, Caps has flash.
No,
he misses the ult. I think he was just out of range. Caps really playing with fire in this mid lane against Hylissang, and Nisqy does have to base though.
The hitbox is so little, it's so not fair. Any other champion a little thicker and you're just instantly pushed through.
Oh man.
But I think the biggest problem for G2 now is his bot lane. Fnatic have had perma prio here, they put so much resources from the jungler, they're starting up the Drake and there's a huge CS differential on this Aphelios who scales super well into the late game. So G2, Fnatic, Bwipo flashes in.
Stun. Can disable the turret if he wants to. Leaps in. Now the Camille coming out as well. It misses the damage, but the turret's still like down. But now, Exec ultimatum, Bwipo will be able to walk away.
Jankos is on the top side of the map, does have access to his sleep. There's a ward that's going to spot him out, but no flash on Bwipo. Should be able to walk out of here.
Yeah, Jankos just going to clear away this ward, and the thing is he can't trade the Dragon for the Herald because he doesn't have enough top prio to start a fight.
And the guys, I'm going to be honest, have been trying to run a graphic all game, but there's no time. This is a game neck and neck. The balance is there, but Hylissang, the creep's coming in just in time to body block, but now Selfmade stepping forward. The knockback, Rekkles with the sidestep, but he still gets pulled in. He gets punted back under the tower. Hylissang in trouble. Oh, Rekkles still alive. The body block on the Calorum Q as well. G2 make it out.
Wow, Mikyx runs the same play on Hilly again. Both of his deaths from Hylissang, he's been punted back into the tower by Mikyx. It really does feel like even just 6 kills onto the clock. Mikyx, Wunder missed his hook shot.
He missed the hook shot. That's disaster. Bwipo just gets to finish the job. Adaptive defenses, but it's not enough. Whoa, Bwipo again finding the kill onto Wunder.
There's so much fights around the map, you know. G2 get an advantage in bot, then Fnatic get an advantage in bot. G2 get an advantage in top, Fnatic answer again. So G2 do pick up the Herald, but this top matchup slowly going in favor of Bwipo here, especially after that solo kill. Small mistake from Wunder there.
Go on, Portobello. Keep your eyes on the Swirl Seed. Will hit the wall and will not proc anything further. Take a look back at this one.
Yeah, this is just that top lane play, and the hook shot does not connect on the wall. You hate to see it here. It's even a level advantage for Wunder, but you see Bwipo wants to trade with his E right there, and it's just off the big shield. There's nothing really Wunder can do. He gets CC'd next to the tower, and even with the shield there, it just doesn't matter.
More with the 3D maneuver here. You know, it's not an easy
He's not caught up on Season 4 yet.
No, he's not.
The only real action we haven't seen is in the mid lane too much. Yes, Caps has been doing so much damage to Nisqy and Hylissang, but the fact that he's around 15 CS up in this mid matchup without the TP is really impressive, but you have to argue that Nisqy did TP towards top to get the dive going, but Caps is definitely getting an advantage in this lane.
And guys, in this brief moment where there is downtime, Fnatic 1K gold lead, a Drake up. Twitch chat, this is your time to shine. Who will take this game? Span, FNC, or G2 in chat? We might have a fight right now.
It's a 2v2.
Might not be a lot of time to vote, but vote FNC or G2 in the chat. Who takes it? And we'll check in on that in a moment. Because, of course, this is probably the calmest 1 minute of gameplay we've had since this game started.
And the only problem that G2 are going to run into now is the TP disadvantage in mid. Nisqy did answer a TP top for a dive, and that can happen in mid, bot, or top because they have double TP on the side of Fnatic, and they can TP wherever they want.
What's up, guys?
Hello.
This is
we're excited. Look, our gameplay almost as good as what's going on the screen.
Paused.
Ah, I see.
And that hilariously gives us time to talk about, I don't know, things like what this game means for the players, what this looks like. And while we do have this brief moment, I'll keep you guys updated on why the pause is going as we get more information on it. But in the meantime, I think this is a good opportunity for us to talk a bit about bot lane. And I kind of expected this to just be the Rekkles victory lap. That's what a lot of people labeled this as. And while Hylissang has been caught out twice now, we've seen this big CS lead coming in from upset, and the Aphelios is looking very strong.
Yeah, it's been a really big deal because I felt like a lot of the early pressure, right, was sent away from bot lane from G2, but then, of course, they ended up winning that 2v2. But then Fnatic, once the Summoners went down, it was all about piling up on Mikyx, making sure, I mean, even in the dive that didn't work out in the bot lane, where Hilly died the second time, they still denied a lot of minions.
The thing is, I think both supports are just going way too aggressive in the lanes, right? You saw Mikyx trying to dive with Alistar with no minion wave, then Hylissang tries to dive in between the tier 2s, gets deja vu and punted back. So I just think the supports kind of have that meme, you know, they're both kind of holding hands, let's keep fighting, and then they both keep dying for it. So the advantage just keep going back and forth in the Fnatic bot lane.
Look, their bot lane partners, their AD carries might have changed, but the sports play the same way. Like, this is the same thing we were talking about in 2020.
We don't care about the nameplates next to these guys. This is really the Mikyx versus Hylissang show. That said, we do have an update on the pause. G2 reported connectivity issues. League officials are investigating. We'll keep you posted as there are any more findings or any more updates. But in the meantime, we'll kind of just hope this comes to a resolution as quickly as possible. Now, we already broke down that replay on the top side of the map. I think we get to mid lane and jungle eventually, but they kind of feel like supporting actors in this game because it has just been a bloodbath in both side lanes. And I look at this and I feel like Wunder has to be hitting himself on the back of that play because even in a matchup where he was getting bullied so often, he found a good opportunity to get a good trade. But if he messes up at all, it just feels like this lane is instantly just against him.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, like, missing the hook shot, like, that should really not be happening. You know, missing an auto here and there probably doesn't mean a solo kill at the end of the day. But yeah, that one's definitely going to sting for him. This matchup can swing either way, you know, especially if one side does build up an advantage. So seeing it even out makes things a little bit more spicy. That's why we had both junglers sort of around that area.
Yeah, I think when the Camille gets 1-2 items, we'll see her start to winning the side lane a lot more. But if the Volibear gets gold for free like that, Wunder getting solo killed by making a mistake, then it just gets harder and harder for the Camille to ramp up and start pushing this Volibear in over the side lanes. You know, Aphelios is ahead 20 CS. There's been a lot of action towards the bot side, but the Aphelios with the Thresh scales so well into the mid game. You know, these mid waves, Aphelios can just pop the wave. He has the Thresh Lantern in case he gets engaged on. So going into the mid game, I think G2 might struggle a little bit just because of their wave clear in general. But Caps is like the kind of like the stone for them right now, the rock that they need, who's actually winning mid. He's doing pretty fine overall. Without TP, he's actually pushing Nisqy in quite a lot. So he can move around the map and try and impact these side lanes too.
Yeah, and playing off of a good bubble. Money. Love those skills later on.
God, you and your despicable Zoe.
Zoe's sweet. I love it.
Yeah, I like it when you're fed. I don't like it so much when you're because you're playing it support and it doesn't do anything when it's not fed. But we do have picks and bans in front of us, and we also have update on the chat poll. We asked you to vote, and as we did, everything broke. So maybe we're at fault here for the. Nah, I'm kidding. But 63% in favor of G2 Esports. So G2 Esports favored, but definitely not as much as one would expect when everyone was kind of heralding this team as like the next big thing, the final evolution of G2 Esports. And Fnatic, a team that I think people might have been skeptical heading into the game. After you watch this early game, you're like, oh, wait, Fnatic can match toe-to-toe with what G2 brings.
Yeah, to be perfectly honest, like, this is the type of game that I was expecting, a bloodbath, right? Like, even though I think a lot of people will look at a lot of other Fnatic games, they would say, oh, they see some mechanical issues, maybe some decision-making issues, they're always forcing the issue. Well, that's also a lot of what G2 like to do. So, like, these two teams are never going to back down. We said it was going to be a bloodbath coming into it. It definitely is delivering. And for me, the most interesting thing has been seeing the teams just instantly acting when they have pressure in areas. It hasn't always worked out, like the over-forcing around the dives in the bottom lane especially has been an issue, but these teams, once they see they have a numbers advantage, they're instantly attacking the side lanes.
Yeah, this game's so even, it's so hard to say how the game's going to progress, because it's essentially like a 1v1 isolation in top and just a 3v3 constant fistfight in bots where both supports just keep going so deep. But I think the fact that Fnatic's making these plays, going in between tier 2 towers, TPing into top tier 1 to get 3-man dives off, shows that they're here to fight. They're here to play. I mean, they're playing pretty fantastically so far, barring a couple of mistakes from Hylissang getting queued and punted into tower. So if you argue based off of pure making plays happen, I think Fnatic's obviously ahead, because the only way that G2 got kills was basically Mikyx punting Hylissang to the tower twice, and the other side, Fnatic's actually proactively looking for plays.
Absolutely are. Now, we have an opportunity to look at the bird's eye view of kind of the state of the game as it stands before we head into this pause. Now, maybe we could bring the scoreboard up as well, observers, if that's something that we can do, something we can look at to kind of examine the state of the game holistically. This view's perfect, observers. Thank you.
Yeah, because again, I think the big difference we've been mentioning is that CS in the bot lane, 20 CS up for Upset, and he's obviously going to be entering back into lane. It actually looks like Hylissang has a freeze ready to go bot side, so that's going to be even worse news for Rekkles too.
Yeah, I think the highlight thing here is vision, right? You look at vision across the map. Upset and Hylissang have just base, they've picked up ping. So although G2 have vision around the mid-side, bot-side river, where Mikyx is currently, I think that's going to get swept out soon by Fnatic. If Fnatic can keep this bot push and Selfmade comes out of base with more pinks as well and they control this whole bot-side river, I think Fnatic's at a good... They're benefiting pretty hard here. I think the only thing they have to care about is caps with the bubbles, because they're winning top, Herald's gone, they're already 1 Drake advantage, 2 minutes 30 till Drake, so both teams are going to be playing bot-side here, and I think you'll see Fnatic sweep out all these pinks that G2 have kind of accumulated and then start to play around the hook, start to play around the bot waves, start to play around the push.
Yeah, something we see out of Hylissang in particular a lot is even when his AD carry resets, he sticks around in bot side to set up a good lane state for his ADC. So on the map, he's of course setting up that freeze. Meanwhile, Mikyx is around mid lane, so that of course gives Cap some pressure to push in mid, and maybe they could set up a transition of that pressure towards the bot lane to try and break the freeze.
Yeah, so I think you have to note here, Fnatic's way of cracking this game open is through bot. Keep pushing this bot lane advantage. I think the only way G2 can contest this bot side vision for Drake is try and crack Caps open through mid, you know, try and flash onto Nisqy, force him back, get his flash, make it so it's hard for him to step up, and then G2 can go through mid into the Dragon instead of going through bots, where I think Fnatic is strongest.
And of course, for Fnatic, I think one of the things that I love most is having Hylissang on this Thresh pick, just simply because of how much freedom it gives them around the map. The Lantern, a very big tool. We saw Promise Q use it pretty well in the previous game, despite the loss. And I think when you look at Taliyah as a champion, when you look at the Aphelios as a champion, especially when he hasn't opted for the Gale Force, when he's gone for the Kraken Slayer, that is a Zoe, that is a Kai'Sa, that is a Camille. You can get picks so incredibly easy with these champions, but when there's a Lantern there to bail you out, outside of the Hextech ultimatum, admittedly, usually you can make it out to safety, and now Upset does just get to be this massive DPS powerhouse with this itemization choice.
That's why I think Caps has to really pop off in these fights himself, because they have so much disengage with the Taliyah knock away, you know, they have the Volibear to be a frontline, the Lantern, like you said. I think if Caps can get poke onto people like Upset and Nisqy before the fight starts, G2 naturally can just walk in and take over the fight. But like you said, the Kraken Slayer already picked up for Fnatic for Upset, and Rekkles doesn't even have a full completed item. So this bot matchup is going to get a bit in favor of Fnatic like it already is, and I think these Dragons might start snowballing for them.
Yeah, and obviously Rekkles being delayed on that Acathian Rain Evolve is a bit difficult to deal with. But of course, if you're just joining us, we're currently in a pause in the match of the week between G2 and Fnatic. Trust us, we don't like being a pause, and we certainly don't like being a pause in our match of the week either, but we'll keep you guys updated. It was connectivity issues reported on G2's side, and I think the last thing that we want is to play the match of the week out, and it has been a very hype bloodbath with lag. That sounds...
It could be fun. Put everyone on 100 ping, see what happens.
All of G2 disconnected and Fnatic just ending the game.
Well. We found a way!
/ resume, you know. Get ready to go. Please no.
Yeah, and that said, I think You said you expected the bloodbath. I didn't expect it to be this evenly matched early on, but I think it is credibility to Fnatic to really push lane advantages where they have them, even if there have been a few small hiccups. And again, I just want to praise Bwipo as a guy who did not hesitate at all when it came to picking up this Volibear and has been doing very well in the lane matchup. And we've seen this multiple times now. The thing that I love about this Volibear counterpick is or a matchup, is that there's just a moment every time we've seen it. We saw it with Gen X2 against Here. Here it got first blood on the Camille. What happens? Gen X comes back, hits W twice, wins the trade, freezes the lane, he's up 20 CS. And now we're seeing Bwipo do the same thing. Yes, there are opportunities for Wunder to respond. Admittedly, he fumbled some of them, but now Bwipo is just set up for success. And Volibear looking like a very nice pick.
Yeah, definitely into Camille. It's really good in the early game, especially, like you said. The W kind of out-heals Camille's damage, but as the game progresses, Camille gets the advantage. But looking at the draft, you can see so many priorities here. It's kind of scattered across the draft itself. You see G2 actually opt in for the jungle trade, Lillia for Taliyah. They had that insta-lock, they had that already planned out. And then you see with the Renekton ban on the 1-2-3, they knew that they wanted to pick Camille on 3 and then ban out 2 top laners. So they got 3 top laners banned out for the Camille itself. So really smart draft from G2 themselves. But the only thing that you question is the Kai'Sa priority, right? You know, the jungler's already picked on the Fnatic side for first pick. You don't really have to pick your jungle on 1-2. You can pick it on 3. Why don't they go for the Aphelios Thresh? Now that just comes down to comfort and what they think's more OP from Scrim. So G2 obviously thinking Kai'Sa is stronger than the Aphelios Thresh because they did have the option to go for it. And then Fnatic instantly picked that up as G2 go for the Kai'Sa themselves.
Yeah, it does feel almost like that Kai'Sa has more like individual standout moments, whereas the Aphelios is a little more team reliant in those team fights. Perhaps here for upset. Could be something angling there for Rekkles to lock in the Kai'Sa himself. But honestly, I think that seeing the Aphelios already off to such a good start is such a tear in the team fights as well. And I think that for upset in particular, you know, stepping into the shoes of Rekkles for Fnatic fans, like that's not an easy thing to do, but to already have an advantage and set himself up, like his role in this game is to prove to Fnatic fans like he is a worthy replacement at the very least.
Yeah, and I think the thing that Yamato said, and I love it that he said it, is like, look, Upset's finding his own role. He's his own person in the context of the team. But I think from a fan perspective, it's not like Rekkles is gone for 2 months and you're like, I'm over him. We've moved on. I forgot
we made the music video, okay?
We made the music video. It's not like it's suddenly okay. So I think that even if Fnatic, the organization, and the team of Fnatic doesn't want to put that pressure on him, there is still that expectation on his shoulders that, like, when push comes to shove, you're going to be the guy that we can stick in a side lane that can get to 4 items and you win us the team fights when it comes to it.
And this draft basically spells that out, right? Look at upsets. The only real AD damage that Fnatic have, you know, you've got the Taliyah, you've got the Azir, you've got the Volibear, who's kind of hybrid more towards AP in the early game especially. So upset needs to step up in these fights. And I think that if you look at the draft again, like, Aphelios Azir, this is so much late game damage. You know, if Mikyx walks up on the Alistar, that's the only frontline G2 have. They get instantly melted. So G2 with the Alistar Camille need to make sure they find really clean engages with those two to make sure they take out one carry. Caps needs to poke them down, and then Rekkles is just follow-up factor from the Alistar, which is very clear on how that team fight works and how their team comp works, whereas Fnatic's team comp works slightly differently. The Thresh can play aggressive to hit hooks, and the Aphelios can poke them out with the Taliyah W, or they can use that to peel, kite back with the Azir Aphelios, and just melt the front line, which G2 has very little of.
Exactly, and I think you guys were mentioning earlier, like, the value of having the Thresh Lantern versus, you know, a Lillia sleep, or more importantly, that Zoe sleep, but also from Summoner spells, Upset's going to be rocking the Cleanse as well. So I feel like he doesn't even have to really worry about a QSS in a game like this either. Like, he can focus a lot on the DPS and just be that huge stat machine, the teamfight Aphelios, the 200 years that we all know and love. Maybe that's a strong word.
We loved it. It's not quite as crazy now.
It's not as 200 years. It's more like 150 years now. I think it got a little bit tuned down.
Yeah, we kind of...
Is that how time works?
For,
I mean, technically, we chrono-baked earlier. We went back in time, so you could do that with nerfs. That's kind of like...
If they nerfed him, is he more years now because the design team now has more experience? So does that mean that more years on Aphelios is...
We're going to have to get Drake and Dur on the case. I think they're the only ones that could crack this.
Probably. All right, guys, I'm sorry to say, but while we wait for the game to resume, I'm very excited to hear from Quickshot and Vedius, but we'll keep you guys posted on the pause and everything that's going on as we get updates. So in the meantime, let's hear what Quickshot and Vedius have to say about this thrilling game.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. And once again, apologies to everybody out there. As you have heard multiple times already, G2 Esports have reported connectivity issues. So while we are pausing and investigating and discussing options, Vedius, got in touch with the observers, got in touch with Eva, and said, look, let's run through some of the kills. Let's run through some of the action that we have already seen. Now, we are building this live. This is not normal. This is not standard. So, Vedius, where do we want to start, and how do we want to run through this?
Well, first, I just want to check. Observers, if you could give me a bit of a wiggle, if you could tell me that you can hear me, that would be absolutely fantastic. I've done this with my observers a few times, and normally what we'll do is we'll, like, go to each of the plays, we'll have a look and see at how... There we go. Thank you you very much, observers. Very, very cool. So I'm not going to be able to draw on the screen for you guys. I do apologize about that. But there's been a lot of action in Fnatic versus G2, if you hadn't noticed. And so we thought that it would be fun to go back, look at some of these kills and actually do like a deep dive, take our time exploring some of the lane states, having a look at that. And because we have our observers with us, we're going to be looking through. So how about we jump to the first kill and we have a look at how that one broke down? Because the early laning phase, like, there was a lot happening. So our observers are going to jump us over to either, it was either in the bot lane or in the top lane. I forget which kill the first one was.
If we can start rolling through the replay, we can go at double or 4 times speed, just so we can get the lay of the lanes. Within a few moments, we will see the first 2 kills from G2. They kind of came in simultaneously, top and bottom, to be fair. And we'll obviously be taking a look at the specific setup. But what did you make of the early attempt, level 1?
I think a lot of this, of course, is just to primarily just get a little bit of information in the enemy jungle, see what G2 is up to, what their pathing is, and where they're going to be starting. So obviously, we noted that G2 starting up on the bot side. They want to go up towards top. Jankos wants to try and cover this Camille Volibear matchup, risk a potential getting dive, making sure that Camille isn't put in a very dangerous situation. Wunder getting a very early push means that he's already going to start getting very favorable trades, and he will get that early level 2.
And of course, just forever, just before we do get to the kills, perfect timing here, slowing it down, and you can already see the initiation. Level 2, and Wunder's already got the advantage against Bwipo.
All right, so let's have a look at exactly how this one happens. So first, you'll notice that he has hit that level 3 mark. He's very close to the tower, but he wants to try and take advantage of the level difference between the two. So he lands the stun into the auto reset, and he actually hits the true damage into the shield, but realizes that that's okay. I think one of the biggest turnarounds here is this point right here, where he actually gets his passive back up and available. At this point, Bwipo realizes that he can't win this trade anymore because all of his cooldowns are gone. But Wunder's Q rather is just about to come back up, which means that he gets that additional damage and is able to get that outplay.
Sorry to interrupt you, but we do have the magic of the Observer tool. So can we rewind 15 seconds, 20 seconds, and let's actually watch this bottom lane. Can we go a little further back there, Eva, and actually watch how the setup happens that Mikyx and Rekkles are able to pick up a kill for themselves?
So the very first thing to note is we saw Rekkles and Mikyx giving a pull over to Jankos, which means that they get to lane late, and it means that they're going to get that level 2, obviously a little bit delayed. So Upset and Hylissang took advantage of that, and they start stacking up this wave for a push. The risk, of course, is that Taliyah could also come over and threaten a dive, maybe even zone them away from the tower. So a hook initially comes out. At this point, Hylissang is very close to tower. He just draws tower angle. Such great awareness there from Mikyx to realize, hey, Hylissang has slightly overstepped. I don't think that hook was very egregious, but as you noticed, he got a little too close, and Mikyx was very quick to punish it immediately.
We pause it just there. Hylissang still feeding Rekkles. Now, we do actually have the ability to jump straight. Yeah, we do have the ability to jump straight to the next kill. Just before we do, I do want to just remind you that if you are just joining, we are in a technical pause. We can see the players on your screen actually at the moment as we're currently investigating. League officials are working with G2 to solve the connectivity issues. I will keep reminding viewers in case we do have new ones joining us.
Right, so again, let's very quickly pause it because as you'll notice, in the early game, G2 have 2 kills, right? This is huge, right? The fact that they've been able to get an advantage on Wunder, the fact that they've been able to get an advantage in a 2v2 without any form of jungle interaction is great. But the big thing is that Rekkles hasn't had an opportunity to reset yet, so that advantage actually hasn't come through. So let's now start rolling out the clip and see what happens. Because honestly, there's been so much action in this game, I forgot what kill we're even at this point. So, what ends up happening here? Mikyx flashes in. This is where Jungler comes down towards the bot side to help look for a gank. So this is where they're trying to get that reset in for Rekkles. They're trying to push the wave in so that he can reset, spend that gold, and start utilizing some of that early advantage that he was able to get in early laning phase. Meanwhile, on the top side of the map, let's pause it very quickly, and let's actually rewind just a little bit, because while this play is happening on the bot side of the map, Selfmade's like, hey, I need to go and clear my top side camps, so with a wave stacking from Bwipo, I now want to threaten this top lane tower dive. You'll also notice that Nisqy has the teleport available. He's resetting after just pushing in that mid wave, which means, lo and behold, he is primed and ready to join this dive as well. Fnatic know that G2 can't respond because of what's happening on the bot side of the map, and with no flash on the side of Wunder, they deny him a lot of farm, and even though he gets a solo kill, it's completely mitigated by this dive from Fnatic.
All right, 5 minutes in, 1 kill to 2, 7.6, 7.6. Fnatic will be getting themselves another kill in just a moment. Do you want to complicate the situation we're in? I believe we have the ability to draw. I think we can turn the tools on, all right? Okay, so I think that's a no. I'm not quite sure what's happening. We may turn the Telestrator tools on in just a moment, so if we do see the tools, then Vedius, I will be asking you to draw for us, and they are activated.
Okay, okay. Do I have observers with me as well?
I believe that we do.
Okay, so observers, if you could just give me a wiggle to...
Yeah, there we go. I think we're live. They're live.
Ah, nice, perfect. right. Okay, so pause me. Ah, this is great. So now I have everything. Now we get to play.
This is the Vedius show. Welcome to the Vedius show.
All right, so first I'm going to get rid of some of this stuff. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Normally, I have a little button here. That's what I wanted to do. I want to get rid of this one, and I want to get rid of this one. And now I would like to go back to this. Perfect. Now our screen is clear, and we can bring up the minimap. So, now, excellent. I'm happy now. What we can talk about in the state of the game is that what happened for G2, I've got the wrong zoom in. My producer will be very angry with me. Because of the kill in topside, this was obviously going to be very bad for Fnatic. So what they needed to do was try and mitigate the pressure, and so that's why they set up that dive up towards the top side of the map and removed it. On the bot side, it wasn't Rekkles that actually got the kill. If we can quickly bring up the scoreboard and show the item difference, it was Mikyx that got that kill. So while he does come back with a pickaxe, you'll notice that because Upset was still able to get a lot of farm, he actually comes back to the lane with a Noon Quiver. So that bot lane difference is also mitigated. So what could have been very bad for Fnatic in the early game, they actually did a great job of handling and turning back around so that the lane is neutral. Let's now run this replay. Let's get rid of the scoreboard, and let's actually see what happens in this play. We'll notice right now that Jankos is on the top side of the map, Selfmade is on the bot, and the first thing I want to highlight is no summoner spells for Mikyx because of the play that he made underneath the tower. The wave is in it. Let's pause it right here, right? So this is where for G2, it's in a very awkward spot. And I'm sure many of you in your solo queue games have been in this position before where what you want to do, and not you'll normally do, is you'll walk up to here and you'll just be like, you know what, if we kill these minions, we'll be absolutely fine. And that is exactly what this duo is looking to try and punish. They recognize that the moment Rekkles and Mikyx have overstepped even this line, that is enough for them to be able to get that kill. So as we roll the replay out, what you're going to see is, lo and behold, Mikyx immediately splits off from Rekkles. He's saying, I'm dead, there's nothing we can do, I can't escape, and if I run with you, you might have to burn your flash as well. So good guy support is there to cover for Rekkles, and now the bot wave is in a very awkward position for G2, and now all of a sudden, the game is very heavily in the favor of Fnatic. Okay, now pause for a brief moment. We're 7 minutes in, 2 kills to 2, the gold is still even. The state of the game, and let's rewind a little bit when we look at the compositions. Is there an onus? Is there a preference? Like, did you want to see one team maybe playing slower or faster, you know, in the contrast? Because I know we always say we expect a bloodbath, and I know we always say, like, it's fun, but is this going to benefit one side or the other? It's still very early days. Well, I think what's really interesting about these comps is that they both scale quite well. I think that Camille has a slight advantage, especially in the side lane later on into the game, but Volibear is a champion that, as long as he doesn't fall too far behind, can actually match her quite well. You also have Aphelios and you have an Azir, who are both very strong scaling team fighters that are going to offer huge, especially in these Drake fights, but the range that is offered from a champion like Zoe can definitely mitigate that. So I'm actually quite excited in terms of execution around these fights, because I think that there are pros and cons for both sides when it comes to that. I think that Fnatic have slightly better scaling, but that's mainly because of the Taliyah difference between the Lillia. I think that she just offers a lot more damage, so when it comes to these Drake fights, she's going to be offering a little bit more. But I do think that it is very close, and execution is going to be key. All right, now Vedius, we're 7 minutes on the clock, and if you are just joining us, the game was paused at around 10 minutes. G2 did report those connectivity issues, which we're still investigating. The moment I have an update, I will share it with you. In the interim, we've been able to spin up a Frankensteinian Telestrator scenario. We need to name this thing. Maybe you guys can help us. With 3 minutes, left of gameplay, I'm going to ask Eva to just press play and start running through the game for the last few minutes. As we approach a kill, Eva, if you can pause for us to set the scene. And Vedius, now we're going to have just a little bit of time where we can start looking at how this game progresses on this sort of even kills, even gold state. Yeah, so if actually we can pause it very quickly here, and we can do like a quick summary of like what's going on with the waves, because laning and wave state is really important in pro play, and the most awkward thing for G2 right now is this bot wave that they need to try and fix somehow. So one option that they can do is that they can push in mids, and then they can use the pressure that they have in mid to then threaten bot, right? Obviously, Caps is a little bit too low to be able to make that, but the crucial thing is that he's forced both Hylissang and Nisqy very low, which then makes things very awkward for them when it comes to actually supporting the bot side. So there should be options for them to be able to break up this freeze. Meanwhile, if we have a quick look look at the top side, the thing that Wunder is thinking about is there a risk of me getting dived here? So I'm going to quickly draw your attention to the minimap once again, and you're going to notice, well, okay, what is the most immediate concern right now for Selfmade? He does have all of his top side camps up, and his blue buff is up, along with this control ward that you can see sitting right here. So this threat of what Wunder's thinking is, hey guys, there's a real risk that I could get dived, but of course with the pressure that they have in mid, that mitigates that. But I'm not sure if they actually see the Taliyah in mid yet, but Taliyah is more concerned about what is happening in mid and needs to cover for that period in time at the risk of a potential dive, or to make sure that these two players on Fnatic are not suffering. So a lot of praise needs to go to Caps here, because his little playmaking not only pushes Nisqy back, but also Hylissang back. That will actually stop any potential dives happening on the top side, and can also potentially push out the wave in bot.
All right, so let's carry on rolling through this clip. As you can see, Hylissang went very, very low. Drakos almost lost his mind as Hilly was able to escape. And then there's all
Pause
this...
it again. Very quickly. Sorry to cut you off there, Trevor, but I just kind of wanted to very quickly go back to what we were talking about earlier, where getting that mid-pry was so important. And did you notice how quickly Jankos and Mikyx went through the enemy jungle to make it more awkward for Selfmade to rotate, and actually started threatening bot? And the main goal is, number one, to threaten a potential dive onto this man right here, but more importantly, to break this freeze. Because the longer this wave stays here, the longer Rekkles doesn't get farm, and that's bad. That's really bad. Notice that Fnatic Upset is already level 6, and they want to try and stop him getting as much solo XP as possible.
All right, I have just got an update that internet connectivity has been restored in the G2 house. Just to confirm, Depa, are we good to go back to the caster desk? Well, the game has been resumed. Without further ado, let's head back to our match of the week. Vedius,
let's go. Let's get back in the game.
You are a machine. Thank you for that. And thank you, Eva.
Thank you, Eva. Thank you, Quickshot. Thank you, Vedius, for that fantastic breakdowns. We bought a little bit of time, kept you guys entertained, but we are about to get back into game. I believe any moment now, potentially almost instantaneously. Maybe.
We're waiting for it. It'll happen.
Right,
First, you got to read our names to remember who we are.
30 seconds. I'm Daniel Drakos. That's Christy. Oh, you might have forgotten already. That's Christy Fireson. That's Mark Lamont.
Is that?
I almost forgot.
Mark with a K, right?
With a C.
With
You've been Caedrel to me for so long, I forgot.
Everyone spells my name wrong. You know, even, I don't know, even my family spells my name wrong sometimes. I hate it.
That's fine. It's what happens. You know what I mean? So in America, we spell it with a K. That's all I'm going to say. And I'm adjusting. You know, it's something to get used to. That said, you're not here to hear about Caedrel, as exciting and interesting as Caedrel is, or even Ender or myself. You're here to hear about League of Legends, and we are just a few seconds away from getting back into game. And to remind you, if you're just joining us, again, apologies for the technical issue. Actually, if you're just joining us, you're probably fine. If you've been here, sorry for the technical delays. If you're just joining us, you're right in time, because we're getting back into game, and we need to talk about what is happening. Big news right now. Upset wildly ahead in a game where he has to be the carry, and he is the man that we are looking at to step up in this matchup.
Yeah, and we've been waiting for him to show up for a long time, you know? Back when Upset first joined the league, he was like the next guy to try and come and challenge up against Rekkles. Back in the day, he had his shot, 2018 Summer Finals, wasn't able to come away with a win in that one, but here, he's already out to a big lead, 20+ CS over Rekkles, and he is the focal point of this Fnatic composition.
Yeah, definitely, but look at this top side. There's 4-man, 5-man hovering towards the top side, and we said this before the game was paused, that Fnatic want to play to bot side, and then G2 will struggle to contest, but they're going for 2-man for this dive.
You see, good follow-up, gets the heal back, and Bwipo dunks down. Oh! It's not even TFT, it's a thumbs up and a laugh spam. You gotta respect it. Bwipo finding the kill.
G2 invests so many resources towards his top side. Look at them sprinting towards bot to try and get to bot wave to stop Fnatic from crashing this huge wave. If Fnatic can answer this with like a Volibear TP or anything, they can really, really snowball the game.
Oh, the Weaver's wall to push G2 away from the tower. Caps is gonna try and farm. I think he gets 3 or 4 minions off that. But all these turret plates are going to Upset, and all these minions have been denied from Rekkles. It's a disaster.
And now they have to sprint back to mid. Look at Caps and Jankos. They're trying to get back to this mid wave now. They dropped so much tempo by going 5-man top side. But if they get a sleep, maybe they can get a kill.
Sleep, looking for the setup. Caps already burned his... No, maybe get the follow-up. Sleepy Selfmade, good damage coming from Caps. Nisqy now in a position to body block. Now the pushback, that is clutch! Nisqy right when it matters. Caps no summoner spells left to pick up. Goes for the final flash, but he'll get shut down in the end.
Before the pause, it was the upsets show. Now it's the Nisqy show. The huge Emperor's Divide, just absolutely crazy coming through from him. Jankos and Caps, they pushed a little bit too hard and they got punished.
That was a crazy outplay. Not only was a crazy outplay in mid, it was a crazy outplay in top as well. You know, Bwipo wins the 1v2 dive. Nisqy wins the 1v2 with Selfmade coming in just in time. The sleep hits, but Caps doesn't actually have the portal jump to follow up with too much damage. And now when you see the damage come out onto Selfmade, Nisqy just gets a flash ult, both of them going to the tower. And although they do have flashes, Jankos dies before he can even use it.
Yeah, it was just a little awkward there because Caps used his first paddle star on the minion wave instead of looking for Nisqy. Then they didn't have the damage to actually one-shot Selfmade. And once again, it looks like Rekkles just completely abandoned this bottom lane. It's 800 gold lead here for Upset. Rekkles is trying to get as many plates as he can. They've got the Herald too to try and equalize.
Yeah, but just take account of what happened. Bwipo won the top side, Nisqy and Selfmade won mid, and the Upset and Hylissang got so many plates in bot. The Herald will come in, and I think this tower will die. But I think that Upset just picked up bot tower just in time, so he got the first tower gold. He got 5 plates in the bot tower, and G2 tried to use all their numbers to go towards top side because they knew bot was losing, but they didn't get there in time.
And if you look at the scoreboard, Upset is ticking over and ticking back to having a bounty just from the farm advantage that he has built up in this game. He is so incredibly far ahead of the clock. He is shredding through this objective, and Fnatic are set up for success. This is 13 minutes in. It is a 2 Drake, 2K gold lead for the side of Fnatic in a game where they are set up to fight hard in the late game.
Yeah, I mean, it's too early. Drake's with a monster team fight comp. You know, we were sort of talking about it in the break. Fnatic, their backline is absolutely menacing here, you know, and a lot of melee champions on the side of G2. Caps, who's more poke style, he's a big focus of this G2 comp, but he's not going to be that much value in a straight-up team fight. They have to take things slow, play off of his bubbles, and that is not the easiest thing in the world.
Yeah, there's 2 big things to note here. First of all is the item disparity. Look at Caps and Rekkles. They haven't even completed an item yet. Wunder's picked up the Divine Sunder, but Jankos has gone for the Moonstone, so there's really not much damage on this G2 lineup. I think they don't have much front line for this huge scaling of Aphelios and Azir, and they don't have that much damage to deal with it either, but you can see Upset move towards the top side, bot tower's down, can G2 find the pick?
Hook lands, interrupts the hookshot, wall
TP behind.
Selfmade there, but he doesn't have a lot of mana. The follow-up potentially here. Caps lands the sleeping truck bubble from downtown.
G2 in trouble.
Bwipo on the flank. Eyes on Upset as well. He's been exhausted. Nisqy in the midst of everything. Bwipo off to the side. Maybe G2 can find the collapse. Hookshot, wall dive, but he dashes over. He turns back, and he takes down Rekkles. That was personal. Upset now set up to throw down some damage. A brief pause as Mikyx runs for the hill, but that's going to be at the threaded volley. The kill for Selfmade. This is Fnatic's game.
Bwipo showing up with the huge damage, making it personal up against Rekkles, completely wiping G2 in that team fight. Fnatic popping off.
And those left the game notifications are from the earlier pause. That didn't actually happen.
It's not a rage quit.
It was comedically
Although,
timed.
you know, maybe after 800 damage Volibear Q, it could be personal.
Yeah, and look at G2, they're really overextending for this fight. You know, they know if they go into standard lanes, Fnatic can snowball the game, so they tried to make a pick, but they didn't account for Bwipo's TP behind, and although it does look good here for G2, Bwipo turns it with the ultimate, landing on top of Rekkles, hits the W, and completely pops the AD carry of G2.
462 from the ult, 339 from the W. I mean, that hurts.
That definitely does
Absolutely
hurt.
sent him to the Shadow Realm. There is, ooh. Nothing left for Upset in that fight. Cleaning up Mikyx as well on the back end of that one. And the bad news is, the Aphelios is also just getting stronger in the midst of all this. The Azir was just chilling in that fight, and Bwipo is still the point that Fnatic have to be, or rather G2 have to be worried about right now. But the Azir and the Aphelios are just getting stronger and stronger the longer this game goes on.
Yeah, and the problem that G2 are doing this, they're trying to group up a lot. You can see 5 members towards the top side. We saw them try this again earlier when they went for the 1v2 dive. We saw it even when they went for the blue invade on 5 men. They need to group up and find picks because they know Fnatic outscale them so hard. They need to find some kind of kills, try and get towers, get a Camille ahead, get the Zoe ahead. So they actually have a win condition. But right now, it's kind of like G2's carries are just falling behind, and Wunder is 2 levels down.
Mikyx trying to auto this wall.
Get out of there, buddy.
No.
Hex flashes over the wall.
Okay.
Yeah, can't pick a fight with that guy at this point in the game. And, you know, honestly, you're talking about G2 finding picks. I feel like they're really unhappy that it's an Infernal Rift, right? You know, Zoe finds, you know, so much value out of having those walls. Now they're cut in half. There's less brush to work with, too. But now G2 just sprinting at Bwipo.
Look at them again. Another 4-man play towards bot side. Mikyx even catching midway, but Bwipo has ult. He has no flash. The sleep's coming in.
Put him to sleep. Unstoppable now as he goes into the tower, but Wunder following up. Bwipo still very tanky, but there's more than enough damage to finish the job. That's the shutdown, but the 1-for-1 trade back.
Oh, it's a horror for G2 again. They keep trying to go for these 4 or 5-man plays, but look how many waves they're losing. Mikyx holding mid alone. He had to try and ult to clear the wave. Nisqy's hitting top tower. We've seen this so many times throughout the whole game where G2 committing so many numbers to one individual catch that Fnatic just win on the other side of the map.
Yeah, it'll be 2 turrets for Fnatic and a kill and a turret for G2. That mid turret also falling. Gives Fnatic so much control over this middle lane. And I'd have to ask our observers to bring up the gold on these individual players because that is absolutely crucial. You see still the 800 lead maintained here by Upset. And the top side of the map too, Bwipo really getting out to a lead over Wunder.
I think the important thing to note is, because Fnatic was winning out on the map so much, they picked up every single neutral objective. and that's so big. Apart from the first herald that went mid, G2 haven't really been able to touch these neutral objectives. The Moonstone Lillia is down a level, doesn't have that much gold compared to Taliyah, who's 1,000 gold ahead. And I just don't see G2 having enough damage to be able to deal with Bwipo, with Hylissang, and actually out-damage the carries of Fnatic, who are scaling so quickly into this mid to late game.
You see the XP and level difference, Bwipo walking through here. 3 members of G2 waiting in the shadows, waiting for an opportunity, trying to find anything to get them back into this game. They already took Bwipo's shutdown. We're shutting him down here again. Going to matter a lot for the state of the map.
I mean, the more I think about it, the more I think G2 lost to a bit of RNG here with the map choice too. You know, just trying to figure out how they can camp inside of these brushes, because you saw Caps wanted to move down. Mikyx was thinking about walking into that red side jungle, but it's just such open terrain there that G2 really don't have much to play with.
Yeah, G2, 3k gold down. They're looking for all these picks, but they haven't been able to find them, and every single time they found it, it's been a 1-for-1. But now Fnatic pushing forwards, trying to get some vision in the bot side jungle, trying to open up this game with the gold lead they've accumulated, and trying to get this third Infernal Dragon, which I think G2 will trade for the top tier 1.
And for the start of the season, Fnatic's games were messy, so many individual plays, so many individual mistakes, but here we see the benefit. As they've been testing their limits, they're finally prepared for this matchup versus G2. They're winning out in so many of these individual trades and so many of these individual plays as they trade their top tower for their third Drake of the game.
And this whole split long, Fnatic have been very confident in their play, you know, on social media, saying that this is the way they want to play. They're going to continue to commit to it. And you're seeing that pay off here, 4.5 minutes away from a deciding Infernal Soul fight. And on red side, G2 have so little options to actually enter into the river.
And here's the thing. I asked you before, friends at home, and I'll ask you again. The game state very different from the last time I asked, but who is going to take this game? Fnatic or G2? Spam in chat. Fnatic at this point, no doubt they are favored. They are 3k ahead. They are 3 Drakes up. Tied in towers, but that's just about it as they double the kill score of G2 Esports. This will be a tall task if G2 want to come back.
Yeah, definitely. Look at the top side of the map for Fnatic. Look at the level difference. Selfmade 2 levels up, Bwipo and Nisqy up 1 level each respectively. And look at the items as well. Upset's got 2 items. Nisqy's completed his mythic item, and they're scaling so quickly into this late game. Not only do they have the Infernal Soul in the cards in 4 minutes, but they also have huge item disparities. They have huge scaling numbers compared to G2. So G2, they have to keep trying to do this 5-man play, trying to find picks, get some vision, and try to get up to the objective first, because control is a resource, vision is a resource. These kind of things help you set up the dragons, and they help you win the fights.
Yeah, and for Rekkles, rather, it feels like such a difficult situation to try and team fight up against Fnatic, because you know you can't really be diving into the Fnatic backline, playing off of your ultimate. All those champions can push you away very strong at facing off into, and also, you know, there's going to be this Volibear just sprinting at him every fight, and there's not really good peel options when Mikyx is on the engaged dude.
Hang on, they're starting up the Baron here.
Oh, man.
Caps doesn't have TP, and G2 are going 5-man bot side. Wunder is on the top side of the map, but Fnatic shred this Baron.
Yeah, Upset has Crescendo, so it's down below 5k.
Moving slowly. Mikyx's not even going to see it. They're going to sneak it. Hylissang waiting in the bush. Maybe they get a pick to follow up, but are you kidding me? Fnatic, they're going to look to grab a little bit more. Lantern coming in a little bit late. Mikyx punted back. Hylissang maybe overstaying here, but Upset has the perfect setup. If he swaps to Gravitum, he can get the CC follow-up to kick a fight off. Wunder just going to get deleted. Oh no, this is not a fight that G2 can afford to take. Bwipo into the back line. My God, the 1,000-pierced bear just shredding through G2.
Bwipo's just an absolute machine. Jankos is looking for it, but Nisqy over the wall.
Wide glide, and that's all it takes. Revenge for Fnatic and rebirth as Upset makes his mark on this team, and Bwipo shreds through the fight.
All that's left are the former Fnatic members, Caps and Rekkles, while Fnatic with this 20-minute Baron are just blitzing down that top tower, and Caps, he's looking for more, but he's in trouble.
Selfmade pulling back, Rekkles flashing forward. You can't do that. He gets in, and he makes it work anyway on the 1-for-1.
TB's coming in. Fnatic don't want to stop here. Bwipo joins the fight. Can he catch Caps? He does have the flash.
That's a fast bear.
Sleepy, Caps. Oh, he's gonna start with the W. Waiting to get anything else down. He goes out, he comes back in, and he goes down. Wunder also going to use his TP in that instance. Tactical sweep not going to connect. Bwipo now stepping forward. That's going to be the stun. Mikyx on the way in. But still, Wunder going to be able to back off. Hylissang coming in to back up Bwipo if necessary. But finally, after minutes back-to-back of fights, the map will calm down for a brief moment.
Yeah, non-stop fighting. The gold lead's gone to almost 6,000 now for the side of Fnatic. I think their tempo meter was on Drakos. They saw that G2 was going 5-man bot side. They instantly started up the Baron, and with Azir Aphelios, they one-shot it. And not only did they get the Baron, Bwipo even wants to base here and just use the Baron to siege down the towers, but Hylissang finds a pick. The fight starts, and Rekkles and Caps just can't do enough to win the fight for them.
Yeah, honestly, it looks like it might just be a 1-for-1 trade at the start of it, but Bwipo is an absolute machine here. It's crazy. The AoE damage from his ultimate, he's even about to be put to sleep, but the DPS from this bear, he's absolutely unkillable too, even when he's being put to sleep, Caedrel.
Yeah, picks up a double, finishes the fight here, and then decides to base and TP back into the fight to try and catch Caps later on into the fight. But like you said, Caps and Rekkles are the only ones standing, and they just couldn't find the kills.
And we've seen these carry performances from Bwipo earlier this split, right? With his Pantheon performances. And he has to be the one to step up and carry, you know, in those games. It hasn't always come through, but Fnatic have such a big lead that him on the front line, it is looking unstoppable.
And this was supposed to be the game where it was the upset, you know, we had the Aphelios Thresh in the bottom lane, but it is Bwipo who is making his mark on the map. How many times did we watch Wunder smack him in Bwipo's first split in those top lane matches? You remember the Kled counter picks, the Jax, the back and forth, but this time around, he gets the Volibear, often considered an even matchup, but it's not even for Bwipo. He has been clutch across this entire game.
Yeah, G2 pushed in bot. They have some kind of priority around this objective. It's the 4th dragon for Fnatic, but Fnatic just want to go for the base. G2 don't have any wave clear, so if they base too late, they can look for an end. You know, Fnatic are coming into this tier 3. I think they're going to drop the Infernal Soul perhaps and just try to go for the Nexus.
Yeah, I mean, Fnatic, they have a cannon minion. They've got a full wave here. G2, you have to recall, yes, there's an Infernal Soul on the map, but Fnatic aren't going to stop.
I think they're going to try and pick up the Drake before they try to base, but I think Fnatic might be able to run it down. The Baron is off, so they could try and turn down here, use the Taliyah ult, use Bwipo's Volibear to try and get in this fight, but I think they're too late. Looks like they're trading an inhib for the Infernal Soul.
I don't think Fnatic knew that no one based from G2. It was just Mikyx, but yet they're still here looking for the fight. Wunder, kind of tough position for them. There's no wave for Fnatic to work with, but they're looking for Wunder.
G2 are kind of stuck here. They have to look for some kind of fight. I think if Fnatic step too far forward, they can look for an engage. You know, Selfmade can use the wall to try and block them off. Hylissang's trying to look for an engage. They have to hit a hook. That's why he flashes over.
Valée! Hook hits Wunder. He can flay him back over the wall. Pull back. He's waiting for his opportunity. In goes Bwipo. The rest of G2 peeling back as much as they can. The flash is out to safety. It's flawlessly played. G2 on the retreat, but Upset is now hunting. He will not connect on the ultimate, and it's a brief break, but no, the wall. Jankos just barely able to make it out in time as the walls are certainly closing in on G2 Esports.
Oh, it's very close here. Just one kill for Fnatic. And G2, they're going to say, worth, baby. They got the Infernal. They slowed this game down. They gave themselves more time, but don't forget, Fnatic teamfight is insane. Caps!
Picks up Hylissang with the Ignite, with the Q, and like you said, Ender, G2 have bought time. 5 minutes on the clock that they can use to try and scale, try and find some more picks, and the reason this game is such a bloodbath is G2 want to group up as 5 and find picks, whereas Fnatic want to group up as 5 and just do team fights.
Here goes Caps, moving in, gets a little bit of damage down into Upset, lays the Sleepy Trouble down, limiting the options for movement, but he'll walk away before there's any follow-up. There's no one here.
If G2 are going to stand a chance, it has to be the Caps Clinic, right? Like, they're outmatched in the team fight. They're down in terms of itemization, but Zoe can do some beautiful things even from behind. The long-range bubbles, the huge burst damage, that's what G2 have to play with.
And that's the key thing. G2's only way to outrange Fnatic is Caps. Rekkles wants to dive in. Wunder wants to dive in. Mikyx wants to dive in. Jankos can only really get in there with a flash Q sleep if he wants to get on the backline. So Caps is crucial. If he can chunk out Nisqy before the fight, if he can chunk out Upset, it makes Bwipo's job a lot harder to carry these fights.
And this is going to be such a difficult comeback if G2 can even mount it, because Bwipo remains incredibly strong. Imagine that he is working towards the Gargoyle Stone Plate. He will be nigh unkillable. A second massive shield to back him up into these fights. But the Camille is getting stronger. That's 2 items. Eventually, she will win out in this 1v1 matchup, but it's still a long way off, especially when you look at the items coming through from all of Fnatic. The Death Caps, the GA, an extra BF sword for Upset. They are set up for success. It is now just about bringing it home in the face of G2. G2, a team that we know the game is not over until you take the Nexus from G2 Esports.
Yeah, and this Baron is spawning so soon. Bwipo's going to base, probably go towards bot side. He has the TP, and Fnatic, we've saw it before, but they just have more items now, more firepower. They can start up this Baron whenever they want and just shred it down, push out the waves, make sure G2 have to walk through jungle, either decide to turn or just burn the Nash down before Jankos can even answer. He's level 12 at 26 minutes.
Yeah, you'll notice Upset's been holding on to his Crescendum, right? So on the wave, he was using Infernum, the AoEs. He wants to hold on to that Baron shredding machine of a gun there. And just 5 seconds left on the clock. Again, on Infernal map, it's so hard for G2 to get through their jungle. It's all this open space here to try and pass on through, and Fnatic have full control.
Yeah, some sneaky wards are kind of saving them. The bubble does hit on the Hylissang. He has no flash. Caps might look for the poke, but he does decide to put it on the Selfmade instead. So Fnatic trying to keep this wall of vision up, trying to stop G2 from being able to get into the Baron, get some sneaky wards in. And you can see 2 players of G2 trying to push out the waves, 3 of them contesting vision. Fnatic are a bit down on tempo now, so they might have to back up a bit and respect G2 a little bit more and wait for them to catch these side waves, which Bwipo's pushed in bot, and there's a top wave crashing top, so G2 have to back off, and it's going to be a vision war until Fnatic want to burn this Baron.
Now, crucially for G2, there is no flash on Caps. 2.5 minutes away on that one, and for him, he feels so much pressure riding on his shoulders from this deficit to make that play to find the sleepy trouble bubble. So any sort of mistake from him, and he's instantly going to be punished. He has to play absolutely perfect.
Look at Bwipo. He's looking for some kind of TP. He's going to base here and make sure his TP has the home guards. Hylissang is looking for some kind of fight.
They're just going to one-shot Hylissang to kick things off. They're going to pull off the Baron. Upset fishing for the ultimate, but it will not connect. It's Wunder into the backside immediately to try to take down Selfmade. Mikyx there as well. This fight is split. It's Bwipo on the backside versus 3 members of G2, but Bwipo refuses to go down. The sleep coming in, but is it enough? No, Gargoyle stone plate, baby. Bwipo's living as the wall comes in. Selfmade looking to ride home to victory as Jankos is going to get taken out by Upset. Fnatic poised to take the Baron and maybe even the game.
Caps had no mana for the fight, and Bwipo had way too much HP. Again, the man cannot be stopped. The Sterix stone plate combination is absolutely insane. Fnatic, they don't need a Baron. They don't need the Dragon Soul. They're going for the next.
Yeah, Fnatic definitely outscaled there. Bwipo 1v3 in the backline. Looks like Fnatic's going to take this game in 28 minutes.
And I cannot believe it, but Fnatic coming back for revenge. They are certainly look like a reborn lineup.
Really good game from Fnatic, I think. They threw so many fights towards G2. They played so well around their win conditions. They had winning lanes. They executed them properly. And they made so many plays around the map where G2 just looked a little bit confused, just trying to make picks around the map.
Look, it was the fast-paced, full ham style that Fnatic have been going for every single game thus far this split. And it worked seemingly all over the place. Early on, G2 got out to the lead, but past that point, Fnatic were able to bounce back in almost every single lane, and Bwipo in the team fights was an absolute beast.
Yeah, I can imagine the play rate on Volibear is going up by at least 5% over the course of the weekend. That was a disgusting performance. Yeah, Sterix Stoneplate definitely looking like a strong build. Of course, we're going to have Bwipo on PGL later tonight, but your key player of the game on Twitter, Bwipo, Nisqy, Upset. Fantastic performances, it has to be said, from the 2 new members of this Fnatic lineup. It feels like after 3 weeks, we're very used to seeing these guys here, but remember, they've only had a few weeks to play with this team, and in their first few weeks, they're beating G2 Esports, so it's not a bad look.
Look, it was good individually, and also just the way the team played the map. You look at that game, it was bloody all over the place, but also the use of pressure was immaculate as well.
Yeah, you could see G2 trying to nail in their win condition, getting Wunder ahead on the Camille. He did make a mistake and get solo killed. Bwipo did the same, but Bwipo just ran away with the game. He was 1v2ing them in tower dives. He was tower diving Wunder. He was essentially 1v3 on the backline every fight, and you could see in the team fights, he just always one-shot Rekkles somehow.
I have a sneaking suspicion we know who's going to win player of the game. Just a suspicion, though. We're soon going to hear from Upset before Bwipo joins us in the post-game lobby, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more League of Legends content.
Lovely.
It was a bloodbath.
Systems are overloading. We can't risk another game.
We need to take a break and regroup.
We're starting to lose our mind. Captain, we cannot go back to Elo Hell. Last time it took us months to get out of it.
Initiate break protocol.
Hurry up!
Yes! Yes! I did it! We did it! We did it!
Even the biggest champ needs a break.
welcome back to the LEC after what was an incredible match of the week and upset. I'm just gonna leave you the first words. Any first impressions after facing G2 and winning against them?
Yeah, just pretty happy with how we played today, especially in comparison to the other games we played so far. I think it was a lot more controlled, let's say, and Bwipo had a fantastic performance. Honestly, everyone on my team played really well. So yeah, just super happy we got to win and super happy about my team, how they played.
That's amazing to hear. I want to know about the mindset of the team and you, especially today before facing G2. When you think about the performance you had yesterday, I'm wondering how much it impacted you, but I'm guessing not that much?
Well, yesterday after the game, we reviewed a lot and we realized that the enemy towers deal actually more damage to us than the enemy champions pre-15 minutes. So we just said that we don't want to die to towers as much anymore. And once we realized this, it was like a magic moment, you know. And Hilly still, from time to time, took some tower shots and died, but the rest of the team didn't die to towers as much. So now I think we have figured it out finally.
Life of a pro player, learning new things every day. Who could have imagined? But okay, focusing more on the game you had today. What made you better than G2, statistically and in-game?
I think top was very explosive, but Bwipo ended up getting really far ahead. And on bot, even though the enemy tower was really strong, we managed to also get a very big lead. And Selfmade always has very good pathing and gets a lead in the jungle. So from the early game, we were already in a very good spot, just everyone getting their own leads and trying to play together. And then our fight execution later on in the game was good. I think we knew what we wanted to do with our champions. And it was quite easy to play with the lead we got from the early game. So yeah, just solid play, and enemy had like losing lanes or whatever, and it kind of snowballed out of control.
Was there a specific moment in game you were like, okay, we can take this one, we just need to keep focused and stay calm and collected, and yeah, just take this one to the Nexus?
Yeah, especially basically in the pause, we all had like this realization that if we don't make it too crazy, we will very likely win this game. So we felt pretty good about ourselves with our chances in the game, and we all said like calm down a bit, because our games tend to go very crazy and 1 million kills. So this time we wanted to take it a little bit more slow and just make sure we play the macro game as well. And yeah, it paid off.
It paid off indeed, but talking about you, Upset, I'm going to be very honest here. I feel like you entered this year with very big shoes to fill, and I'm not even going to compare you to Rekkles on the Rift. I'm just talking about the media noise about you guys and Rekkles joining G2, and the fact that you had to replace him, and the fact that he's historically known as an emblematic player for Fnatic. So how did you adapt through this pressure? Because you basically had to fit in with a new team, so I'm guessing this was too much noise for you to having to focus on. So did the pressure affect you being compared to Rekkles, and did it play for you entering the game today?
No, it didn't really make a big difference for me. To be honest, I was just super happy I got to join Fnatic, because I thought they were great players in the team, and I didn't feel like there was huge pressure on me, because the pressure feels way less when you have belief in your team and you know that you are surrounded by really good players. So I just felt really happy to join Fnatic, and I have played with Rekkles many times. I never felt too scared of him. I think he's a very good player, but his playstyle is a lot more passive, so I don't really feel that pressure playing with him. I actually quite like it, so it's always like a good experience for me to play with him. Either I learn something or I get some CSD, so yeah, it wasn't a big factor for me today.
I love everything about this answer, and I'm going to give you the final word. Is there anything you would like to say to the Fnatic fans who've been watching you and cheering for you so far and today through the match of the week?
Yeah, thank you for supporting me. It's been great so far. And also, don't be too hard on Hilly. Sometimes it looks like he's dying a little bit too much, but there's genius behind the madness, and he's doing a lot for the team. So send him some love as well. He's a great support, and yeah, just thank you for the support.
some nice words to the fan and your support as well. Upset, thank you so much for the interview and congrats on winning match of the week against G2.
Yeah, thank you. Goodbye.
You're welcome. Bye-bye. And yeah, we're going to take one last break and we'll be back in a few minutes for the post-game lobby with Bwipo. See you guys.